So I guess I will go ahead and I got like a top five, and I'll
Okay.
talk about each one in each of their games.
Jesus, top 25. Top 5.
Top five.
I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get there. It's
No,
the first
that's
time
good.
trying it out.
No, that's got to be it from now on. Now you'll say the whole thing, and then we'll be like top five, and we'll correct it. Uh,
Sounds good.
so I'm just gonna go number one because that's gonna make it a little bit easier for me now because I wasn't 100% prepared for this.
Okay.
My number
Number
one
one,
team
one,
right
one,
now
one, one.
in the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs.
I can't argue with that. That boy Pat.
Patty Mahomes is playing so good. Now it's weird because they do have a lot of receivers, but a lot of them keep getting hurt and stuff like that. So it seems like really all they have is like Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes
Yeah.
and a little bit of Isaiah Pacheco now. But they're making it work. That's all you
Yeah.
need
He
if you're
has
gonna
a
score
different
three
guy every week.
touchdowns. Yeah, but if you're gonna score three touchdowns with Travis Kelsey for every other game, then who cares? Uh, and not only that, but it was the Chargers scored with a minute 46 left, and that's all they needed. I
Oh,
mean, it's
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick
If
Mahomes.
if you take the lead against the Chiefs, or was it, I can't remember, was it take the lead or the tie of the game? It was to take the lead. Yeah. If you take the lead against the Chiefs or
Oh,
tie
you
the
were
game
asking
against the
that game. My
Chiefs,
bad, my bad.
if you give a minute or more, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're now the hard part is like it's not easy to score in the NFL.
No,
So it's
it's not.
hard to ask yourself to not score yet. So that's very difficult. So I mean it's really hard to even kind of say. However, yeah, if you give them the ball back with a minute left at least, it's going to be trouble. And that's
It's
exactly
gonna be
what happened.
hard to stop them.
And I just feel like they're playing so well right now, and they're in the AFC where I know it's a little bit tougher, but dude, Kansas City just does it again and again. They are now, I believe it's 18-0 with Patrick Mahomes on the road in the division.
That's a good
That's
stat.
that's insane.
That's
That's insane. Because these
that's
are
that's
guys
hard to
you
pull
play
off.
twice. These are guys you play twice a season, which means that he's also beating them mostly at home too, just not
Right.
as often because he's not having losing seasons.
No.
So that's nuts, dude. I can't believe he has not lost a road division game. That blows my mind, and he did it in great fashion last night. So they are my number one team right now until somebody else.
Till further notice.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, until further notice, because they're just going to keep winning the AFC, and it's hard to argue with it. So that does go to my number two.
Two, 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 two.
It's really tough for me right now. I am going to go ahead and go with the Eagles,
Okay.
not confidently.
They didn't play great against the Colts.
No, they didn't. I thought we were about to have to start calling him Jeff Sunday, but but we don't have to, at least not yet.
Thank God.
So but it is the Eagles. I mean, they are 9-1. They do have the best record in the NFL. They did get it done against a lesser opponent. Yeah, it should have been in a better fashion. Yeah, they should have scored a lot more on the Colts defense that has not been playing very well. And they should. I mean, they only gave up 16 points, so that's really not bad for them defensively wise. However, you're one of the best offenses in the NFL. AJ Brown did get going a little bit better than last week. 5 catches for 60 yards, but still didn't find the end zone. Quez Watkins found the end zone for him, which it's going to happen. You're going to have some guys that
Yeah.
are random because they're going to be open because other guys are being guarded. Um, but I definitely am waiting for another team to step up a little bit more. I will say the dominating win yesterday almost made me want to move our boys up a little bit more. Because I really do think they look better than Philly right now, but it's so hard to go against Philly because they are 9-1. They keep winning.
Yeah.
It's hard to go against them. So they're my number 2.
Philly's the TCU of the NFL.
Yeah, yeah, I can feel that. I'm still not impressed by their teams that they've beaten. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that they've beaten 9 of them, so that
Right.
is impressive. But I'm still like the way that it all has gone down. I'm sure everybody's seen the memes about like it hasn't been that impressive. They haven't played a lot of great teams, and then they barely beat the Colts. So, my
Number
next
3.
number 3.
3.
Man, this is tough for me. I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
I think that's the right pick. Despite things, I think it's the right pick.
Josh Allen is missing some throws,
He is.
uncharacteristically. So, I think they have plenty of time to figure that out. Stephon Diggs and him seemed like they were a little bit off, and then I don't know if you saw, but Sean McDermott had like a heart to heart with Diggs on the sideline. I think towards like the end of the first half, and then he ended up scoring the next touchdown. And so it seemed like they kind of were figuring things out a little bit. They were able to get it done against the Cleveland team that can really run the football, and they're honestly kind of lucky that they ended up not having to play in the snow because if we were going to have to pick run game versus run game, I'm sorry, I'm taking Cleveland.
You
Nick
you
Chubb,
say that. You say that, but 26 carries for 80 yards versus 33 carries for 171 for the Bills.
I know it ended up being like that in indoors. I do get that because the Bills ended up just dominating the game into where Cleveland couldn't even really run the ball anymore. Um, However, if it was in the snow, I think I'd take Nick Chubb. Like I'd take Nick Chubb in the snow.
I mean,
Man.
never bet against Nick Chubb.
Yeah. So, Amari Cooper though, dude, Amari Cooper had some really nice catches. Honestly, that Cleveland team, I think they're way better than their record, and they're about to get Deshaun Watson, but too little, too late at this point because that AFC is stacked. Anyways, back to
Yeah.
Buffalo. They get the win against Cleveland. Josh Allen, like I said, missed some throws. They had a weird practice week. They had the snowstorm in Buffalo. They had to travel. It was all kind of a funky thing. They're also having to play on Thursday, so it's been all kind of funky. So
Yeah.
for Buffalo, I kind of give them a little bit of a pass on not looking as good as they should have against Cleveland. However, they get it done, win the game. They're 7-3. They're my number 3 right now. Uh, Man, the AFC's stacked. My
Number 4.
4. Man, you know what? I'm actually kind of mad at myself. Anyways, my number 4 is going to be Miami.
I love it.
So Miami, honestly, I kind of, since they were on the bye, it kind of slipped my mind a little bit. I might have even put them above Buffalo
I think you're fine where you have them right now.
because Miami has looked really good. Obviously, they were on the bye week this week, so we didn't get to see much this week. However, like I said last week, I think it's like a 10-game win streak with Tua starting and finishing
Close to
the
it,
game. Something like that. And with that offense playing the way they're playing, they just had a full 2 weeks to get everybody healthy. They did have some bang ups. Their defense is looking really good. They trade for Bradley Chubb. I mean,
Yep.
I like Miami.
It's a dangerous football team.
It's a very dangerous football team. I really like Mike McDaniels. I really like what he's got going down there. He's a different coach. he's kind of he's more or less like you and me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he doesn't
in a
seem
way,
like a
just
head
a lot
football
smarter.
coach. Yeah, definitely a lot smarter. I'm not saying that, but he doesn't seem like a head football coach. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a nice change of pace. And I've always been a huge fan of the Dolphins colors.
He doesn't
I
look
love
like a football coach.
No.
I'll definitely say that. He does not
He
look like a
doesn't.
football coach.
And I love his press conferences. We've talked about that though. But yeah, we didn't get to see much from them this week, obviously, because they were on the bye. However, um, New England and New York Jets, one of them had to lose, so that helped Miami. And then Buffalo didn't look too great, so that might be kind of helped Miami feel a little bit better too. So they're my number 4, looking like they might could possibly move up real easily.
Number 5.
Number 5. So this is where I'm gonna have to go Homer, even though
There's a lot of options. Should we lay out
I'm
the
going.
options? I'm going to lay out the options real quick. So
Okay,
the
lay out the options.
options for the 5th spot would be the Cowboys, Minnesota, which you might discount Minnesota because of what the Cowboys just did to them, but they're an option. Baltimore and Tennessee really are the other options.
So, like I
Now go ahead
said,
and pick the Cowboys.
I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys, just because of how dominant it was.
Yeah. I
If
think
it
it's
wa-
fair. I think it's fair to have the Cowboys at 5 right now. I think it's fair.
They looked really good in all phases of the game.
You know, it was a weird game against Green Bay. It was a weird game.
Right.
Their
We
other
could not
loss
stop
was
the run. We were having a hard time stopping the run, but I think we figured it out yesterday. Because we were able to stuff the run and they weren't able to get anything going at all.
yeah, and their other losses were without Dak Prescott against Philly and week 1 against Tampa.
Right.
Those are their only losses.
Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, if you got Zeke and Tony being able to do what they did yesterday, now I kind of like it. It felt like for the first time we kind of had a little bit more of a Tony A, Zeke B, a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. But they used it well. We were on the goal line at one point early in the game. I think it was when we had already scored once. Excuse
You're
me.
out over
Whew.
there.
Yeah, Shiner, cheer, getting me. Give me a little burpees. Excuse me. We're on the goal line. Tony Pollard tries twice to get in. They're like, okay, he's not going to get in. Zeke, get out there. Zeke, boom, right away, touchdown. Like, and then we got on the goal line later on, and they just gave it to Zeke right away. And it's like, yes, there you go. You learned. You kind of figured it out. Like Tony is going to give you some explosive plays where if you need a lot of yards, you can get them with him. But when it's time to get just a few yards, you got to put Zeke in there because he's going to get you those few yards. So
Yeah,
it
definitely
took
a little more
until
power.
it took until late in the second half, if not the third quarter. I don't remember exactly. For us to even, I think it was late in the second half, for us to even have a negative play. So the Cowboys just looked very impressive against a team that has actually looked really impressive too. Minnesota has looked really good. So the fact that they were able to do something like that to them at home, dude, they're one of my top teams right now.
It's impressive.
It's tough. Yeah.
It's impressive.
And Dak looked so good. He damn near was perfect yesterday. What did he end up having? Let's see. Dang it.
22 at 25, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. No sacks either.
3 incompletions. That's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
And then our defense had 7 sacks. Micah made a huge play at the beginning with the sack fumble on Kirk Cousins, and that basically set the tone for the whole entire game. Dude, I'm excited about these Cowboys. They look really good. Obviously, we've said it before. You lose, the season's over. You win, we're winning it all. That's just how we
Right.
are. It's the nature of the game. That's how the NFL works because it fluctuates so quickly. But I will say, if I had to choose anyone to go over the Cowboys, it probably would be Tennessee right now over Baltimore or Minnesota.
I could see that.
And the only reason
with Tannehill back and
Derrick Henry doing
Derrick
what he's
Henry's
doing,
just
and then
an
Traylon
absolute
Burks.
monster. Yeah,
Traylon Burks
that's
is
my
actually
boy right
looking.
there.
Yeah, you like him a lot, and I've been keeping an eye on him a lot because of you've mentioned him quite a bit. And so, yeah, no, they They look like the same kind of team that got to the AFC Championship not long ago. So
That's what that team was missing was a Traylon Burks.
well, they had
Most
AJ Brown. Yeah, once they
mostly
got rid of
because
AJ Brown,
mostly
they
because they
needed
traded
it.
away AJ Brown. I was talking about this season. That's what they've been missing was
True.
having that potential elite receiver. I mean, can't recall Traylon Burks elite yet, but a
Not quite.
potential elite receiver, which that's what he is. He has the potential to be an elite receiver.
Yeah, and dude, it's they're just one of those teams where like all of a sudden you look and they're 7-3, and you're like, wait a second,
Yeah.
what? So, and honestly, they beat Green Bay. We lost to Green Bay. So the only reason I have them ahead, like the Cowboys ahead of Tennessee, is just because of how dominant it was against Minnesota, who is also in that same conversation of being
Yeah.
around that same spot. So,